Yes.
I don't. Can you hear me now? There was a commercial like that a few years back. Is my heart beating right now? Not too nervous here. But anyway, my job, I've got the easy part of this evening. It's very nice to see you all here for our town hall. And wanted to start with this slide that you can't see on the board behind me right now. There goes my whole effect. But I just wanted to be the person to welcome you so that we could get into this evening. And I want you to see the other volunteers and recognize that the people that are serving on your SMA board have the same interests that you do. We are invested in the community. We want to make it as best as it can be and certainly see improvements as we roll along. So as you meet the people Joe will introduce later on, I want you to really give them some applause because there are hours that are put into the effort. And they do have the community interests in mind. We've got a very impactful and factful, I will say, presentation this evening. And it's really nice to see you all here. So having done my bit, got you in your seats and quiet, I'm going to turn it over for the hard part to Mr. Joe Taylor.
Sorry, the hard part doesn't look like it's on the coming up for some reason right now. Hey, Nick, would you give me a hand this afternoon? This evening?
Jody.
There we
Go on
go.
my slide.
Is that your slide?
That's my slide. It's called freedom of speech.
After we hear from the San Diego Police Department, we'll be hearing from Javier, who'll be talking about community safety. And then we'll have Nick, he'll be talking about some home safety ideas, some just brief ideas and suggestions. I'll be talking about the POWAY Unified 7-Eleven Committee just briefly. And then after that, we have Ken, he's going to be talking about the PQ Planning Board and an empty seat that's available for people. We're going to be ending the evening with our Adopt-A-STAR program, and that's going to be with Hidden Valley House. And Sylvia, I think, is going to give us a little presentation on that. And I'd like to introduce our board of directors. If you guys could just raise your hand. I have Gary Cooper, Jean Hein, Gretchen Pagnotta, Mike Code, and I don't see Larry here. Larry would be our additional member. I'd also like to introduce today, I really would like to introduce the police department. We've got a brand new police captain. His name is Terry Charlotte. He's here. He's going to be helping me. I don't know if everyone's seen John here before, John Briggs. He's our community officer. And Paul Yang. All I can say is these guys are great. You know, they've invited us to participate in all of their activities and community activities. And we're really happy that we're able to do that. And in turn, they're able to come and help us with our activities. So with that, I'd like to have you guys come up and introduce yourselves. Sing okay.
Hey, good evening, everyone. First, I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm the new captain here. I'm turned CHARLOT. Just started in August. I took over for Manny Del Toro. So just a little bit about myself. Coming up on my 29th year with the San Diego Police Department. I was one of the assistant chiefs prior for about 7 years, so we have a lot of experience with the reorganization of the department. The new chief came in and he kind of wanted to restructure the department as far as assistant chiefs and stuff, and do that. And I was brought here as a captain. Never really worked north this area, but very excited to work here. I have a great team with me. You guys met Paul Yang and John Briggs, who supported me. I've been here since August, so I've only been here 3 months. So I'm trying to kind of figure out things. So please forgive me if I can't answer everything, but I brought them here just in case. A little bit about the division, just about what the reorganization is, what the new chief is doing when it comes to Northwestern Division. So what we're doing is a lot of the units are being centralized. So for Northwestern Division, our juvenile service team, which deals with the schools, is going to be centralized in our police plaza, which is down in kind of the Claremont area. So what that means is that they will report under a different chain of command. They're still going to be responsible for the school here, up here in Northwestern Division, but they're just going to work out of that office. So services shouldn't decline or anything. They're just going to be housed somewhere different and under a different chain of command. So I think that the ideal with the new chief is for them to share ideals together collectively throughout the city. So that's kind of what this is going to happen as far as the juvenile service team. As far as at Northwestern Division, we have volunteer services too, which is our volunteers, our RSVPs, which are retired volunteer service officers. So they're also being moved to that centralized under our community and youth service unit down there. Harold Drive Police Plaza is our new division over there. So they'll work out of that chain, even though our retired service volunteers here in Northwestern Division are going to stay as a unit here, but the whole unit in totality is going over there, along with our crisis unit, stuff that worked out in the division. So there's some of the changes, but I know what really affects you here is the burglaries and stuff. And I know we had some slides, but I can't really see, but I'll explain it to you. So as far as this area, particularly, we had one burglary last month. I think it was October 12th over here. So that was one compared to 2 last year. So what we're doing is, trying to kind of figure out, the kind of what is the burglaries, what's happening during the burglaries and stuff. And so totality-wise, as of last year, we had 18 burglaries compared to, I think now we had 2 over the weekend, so we're at 15. And these are the last 6 months. So what we're doing at the division is we're trying to put the detail together where we're going to kind of work the hours of the burglaries. I think they're before midday, which is, between 2, 3 to like night. That's when most of the burglaries are occurring. So we're going to put some undercover officers, to kind of go into different areas. And a lot of the burglaries are really happening in Carmel Valley and the Black Mountain Ranch area. So, we're going to kind of focus on there. Not that this area, things aren't happening here, but we only have one burglary here, but we're here to, one burglary is one too many anyway. So, we're going to work as a division to try to kind of decrease this. So, working together with the lieutenant and John Briggs, the community relations officer, we're going to try to kind of decrease some of these burglaries. But, when we talk about burglaries, we do need your guys' help too. Because, when I was assistant chief, I had all of the investigations that dealt with a lot of different units and stuff, and a lot of the crime and stuff, with the citizens of the community. If you guys can help us out, it really works when we can work together to try to solve some of this. I know there was a burglary series last year. I wasn't here or privy to that, but I know they arrested some people that were involved in those burglaries, and were able to solve those. So with the help of all of you, especially here, that we can work together to try to solve these. And some of the things that, to me, that I see that you can help us out with is securing your houses. Please do not leave them unlocked. Or if you have alarm systems, please set your alarms. Maybe cameras. Buy cameras for your houses, or things that can help us out. So when we're investigating these burglaries, we're able to have evidence and leads to try to solve some of this, because we know people are coming not so much in the area, but they're coming from north or LA and different areas, and they come here to kind of burglarize the houses. So whatever you guys can help us with, we really appreciate it. And you know, with that, you know, there's probably a lot of questions for me as far as, you know, being the new captain and some of my different things just coming in division. It's a small division, just you guys know we have about 25 officers, and really any watch we have typically 4 officers out there patrolling. I direct them to come, you know, through this area just to have a presence. So if you see officers driving through, I mean, they're just nearly driving through. And then I'm talking to Joe and Javier, getting the, you know, officers just the presence around is you know, a detour for people to come in and try to burglarize the houses here. So, you know, but whatever you guys can do, whatever you see, if you see something that is out of place, please call Javier and Joe. I mean, we're in contact. I have their cell numbers. They have my cell numbers. We'll do what we can to help, you know, decrease these burglaries in this area. But, you know, I just wanted to come and introduce myself. Can you guys hear me? I'm not putting like, can you guys hear me? Okay. Introduce myself as the new captain. Like I said, I've only been here 3 months, but I see that, you know, the community is very involved. You know, I have a great team. The officers are very happy to go out and combat crime. And so, you know, I'm lucky to be here, very excited to be here. I can't have a better team to, you know, move forward or move this division forward, but I know with the community's help, we can do a lot. So I will kind of open it up for questions.
First one that comes to my mind, is there any sense that the burglaries in our area are coordinated by the same individuals?
Well, I know last year there was a group, actually there was multiple groups, right? And it had to do with multiple areas. It wasn't just this area, there was more like Rancho Penasquitas and Rancho Bernardo, but there was a crew coming down just kind of burglarizing. They had the same kind of MO where, you know, they would, you know, break the sliding glass door, you know, it was just certain crews coming down. So usually it is like crews that will come down and do these burglaries, but I mean, just on the same thing, I mean, it could be individuals that are doing the burglaries. I mean, it's just what I see, and just through my career, through my years of experience, usually it's you know, the houses that, you know, and, you know, not having alarm, not that they can know, but, you know, a lot of the people are watching, you know, what's going on, whether houses have alarms, have cameras, you know, whether things are locked or not. I mean, they're kind of smart to kind of watch to see what's going on.
So we unfortunately were the people that got robbed this past month. And we were out for dinner. We were gone about an hour and a half. And just like you said, they broke through the window. And I think we scared them off because they ended up leaving a saw blade, which they tried to saw the safe open with. They left a backpack with hat and hair and DNA, and they left a screwdriver for which they broke some stuff in the house. And so we were able to provide all that information to the police. And I did follow up because, you know, it's been a bit, and they said, oh, it takes 2 to 3 months to get DNA samples back from the lab. Is that typical?
Yeah, well, first, I'm sorry that happened to you. And 2, it is typical as far as the lab. When I oversaw an investigation, I had the lab. And so, you know, because it's you know, they have the whole city, right? So they prioritize depending on, you know, not that your burglary is not important or anything like that, but usually when we have homicides and stuff like that, that stuff comes to the front, right, for the lab to process DNA and stuff, and sometimes they're backlogged, they'll get to it, but sometimes it's delayed, like, you know, something could happen tonight, right, and that would move to the front if it was a homicide or something, you know, and so it would get pushed back, but they will work it, and I would definitely personally check to see where they're at in that case.
And like anything, I think it's eye-opening to experience that firsthand. And the feedback, some of the things I learned is because they weren't still in the home, there wasn't a big urgency to get to the house. So it was like a 2.5 hour wait to get the police there because you had other robberies you were out solving for that evening. So that was kind of eye-opening, you know, that we're that backed up, you wait 2.5 hours to get somebody out here. And I don't think, this isn't your issue, but I don't think our local security was really prepared for something like that either here in our neighborhood. So it was just an eye-opening process to experience that firsthand, and, you know, obviously very scary.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, when we talk about staffing, that's another thing. And you know, Joe and Javier, you know, as far as I've been here 3 months, we've been in close contact as far as things going on here in this area. But as far as staffing, like we, you know, it's a small division, so we have 4 officers out. I mean, we need more officers, trust me. When you look at staffing citywide, right, we're just short. You know, the police department's short, and so, you know, I will ask for more officers up here, but you know, we're short in every division. You know, when it comes to the officers, but you know, as far as here, we got to do what we can with what we have, and so that's why we're going to put a detail together and do certain things to try to combat some of this, you know, some of the burglaries. So.
You've kind of danced around this. Do you still think it's the Chilean groups that are coming through here?
Well, you know what, we don't know. I mean, we know that, you know, in the past that has been, you know, them coming and doing, but we don't really know, right? I mean, last year we had, I think, 4 to 6 suspects that we put in custody. But, you know, we definitely keep an eye out for that type of crew, but we don't know. I mean, it's just crews coming down, you know, and it's not just this area, right? It's multiple areas that are coming down and just, you know, burglarizing houses and going back.
These guys they're trained. They went through a jewelry box and they took the good stuff and left any costume jewelry or anything that wasn't solid gold. And they knew what they were looking for. These guys are trained.
Yeah, and a lot of them are very particular on what they're doing. They're trying to get to the safes and that kind of thing. So we're well aware of that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a question for you or Joe, but I believe the burglaries that have occurred had access from roads that are not part of the neighborhood. Okay, I think the one last year came from Black Mountain. I think in your case, it was probably the same road. Is there anything that we can do from a camera standpoint or working with a water company to prevent people from accessing those roads? Because I think that's, from a prevention standpoint, it might be a task that can be undertaken.
We can check with them, we can check with the water district. You have to realize that surrounding us is another 3,000 acres just in the Santa Luz proper of open space. So the open space is open to everybody. So that includes all the trails, all the roads that are outside our perimeter. So it would be difficult to do that. I think the interesting thing is, you know, we've had, what, 5 burglaries in the last few years, 5 years, I think. Only one person set their alarm. And that one person that set their alarm, we were able to get information from that alarm. We were able to provide that information to the police. The police were also able to capture that person, and they prosecuted that person. So we're really kind of a believer that people do need to start doing that within their own homes for protection. We do have, and Javier's going to talk to this in a minute about what he's doing now, some additional patrols. But we'll let him get into some of those details. Because
I live near one of the gates where the water road comes up, and there are often cars that are not part of the water company that travel that road and have access very, very close to the homes. And so I guess what I'm saying, there's a lot of rugged terrain. Like behind my house, I don't think anybody's coming up that trail, okay? But the water road, they have access. And just a thought.
if you do see something on those access gates, please call the North Gate, because
I would.
They do have locked gates at those locations. We have tried to put fencing along the sides of those gates to, further deter people from driving into those areas. It's just difficult. And sometimes we find those gates unlocked. So we do try to manage that.
I was just gonna add to that, we're also on the canyon, which is where they came in, and we've asked other neighborhoods, how they control that open, canyon like that. And, I know we don't have manpower to do that, but I know other neighborhoods have used drones. Which is a very efficient way, I think, to be able to cover a lot of ground without having to put bodies there.
I can tell you, I chair the safety committee, and the first thing I looked at, I went out and talked to probably 50 neighbors, and nobody wants drones. And the reason is privacy. Like I said, I'm out back now, I chaired the safety committee, and when I started looking at the issue, I looked at the customers, which is us, right? We're the customers for the HOA and Securitas. And I went out and asked probably about 50 people, and asked, what do you guys think of drones? Why don't we have drones? And privacy is number one, absolutely not, because we don't want drones. First of all, to actually cover this area, which is probably about around 9 miles in perimeter, the circumference. The number of drones you have to have airborne all the time to have purview of what's going on, you drive you nuts, and the cost will be exponential. Number one. Number two, nobody wants that privacy invaded. So with that drones, we kind of had got to stop on that one. The biggest thing that I've done for my house, because I got cameras. I got these camera lights, infrared cameras, about 400 feet or so distance. I get notified on my iWatch, my iPhone, my iPad, if anything crosses that back area. I walk out in the backyard, and Nick's going to talk a little more about this when we have workshops on it. But you set those cameras in your backyard. I can talk to my wife, I'm Hawaii, and my wife's in the backyard. I can talk to her. You see somebody come across, say, I'm calling the police, get out of my yard. But that's probably number one. My estimation is, and I understand when you live in that whole back area is open to Black Mountain Ranch, and that's where they come across. We also, probably will talk about, we patrol that area. But the problem is when you go out there and try to patrol the area, you drive in that park area, you look for suspicious people, you drive around the area. The problem we kept catching somebody's less than 1%. They see the cars coming, they're smart. And when it goes away, we'll enter. But the camera system's on 24/7. I have a Nest camera in my front doorbell, and I got some of those Nest cameras in the back, with floodlights. Come on, and also at night, IR. I can see clear as day. So this community, you probably would have an 89% chance of catching somebody if only 50% of the people along your area put those backyard cameras in place. That's the number one thing. If you don't catch them, you probably never will see them walking back there. So
We've been smoked up.
yeah, because I had my house is alarmed inside too. I didn't want it because I like that dog. When you do, and but by the time we get in the house, it's too late. We want something that's pointing outward. That's my 2 cents.
So for us, we just found out that our security company can tie into the cameras, and they can actually do the canyon 24/7 surveillance with AI to identify if it's an animal moving or if it's human. If it's human, they can speak on your behalf. So if you're sleeping and you're not really aware or getting the notices, they can monitor it for a fee, and so they can actually watch that for you.
That's nice. Thank you.
That's good, smart. Is there a possibility to get maybe a couple of vehicles with armed patrol? That would deter people if they saw there was armed patrol. No.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, that has to do with, I mean, as far as officers, we're gonna have officers.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We'll get into that. Yeah.
It's a whole nother flicker.
I just want to throw something out. Just from my years of interviewing a lot of people, right, they talk amongst themselves, right? They know where to go and where not to go. And when they know a community is protected, whatever, they're going to go somewhere else. And they're going to talk amongst their crews like, don't go there. Because, some of our, especially if we can put people in jail through investigation, through evidence, cameras, whatever, we can do all that and work together. These criminals talk amongst themselves and tell each other, go there. It's easy over there, don't go over here. So just know that. So the more you can protect yourself, and, you know, and do the things that help us out, you know, you can deter a lot of this, you know, the burglaries.
When you say they, I assume you're talking about criminals, but from what I understand, it's organized crime. So they're not just criminals, they're smarter than criminals, they're organized crime, from what I understand. When you say, but what I'm thinking is, why are interagencies working together to identify these organized crime groups and working together? I mean, FBI, I don't know what other, you know, Homeland Security, why aren't these agencies working together? They should know where these people are coming from and their MO. And the gist of what's going on, it's not just they, it's they organize crime and how they're getting here, how they're organizing, where their goods are being shipped. I mean, there should be a whole group of people besides the police, FBI, whatever agencies working together, interagencies organizing.
Yeah, no, you're correct. And so when I think criminals, that's overarching. That means organized crime. That means anybody who commits crimes. So as far as the organized crime, we're aware of all that. We do work, agencies, you know, within, we work together. FBI, federally, to city, to, you know, state, we all work together. So when we get information, we share that. Because sometimes, you know, I mean, they get information, and just understand that when we do investigations, we learn, you know, a lot of information that we share. Like we, you know, this organized crime, more criminals that might be thinking about it, you know, going to this certain area, we're gonna let that other area know, hey, you know what, we interviewed this guy, he said, hey, their next target is here. And this is just an example. So we do share amongst, you know, the agencies as far as information and stuff. So we're all working together.
Yeah, can I just add to
Yeah.
that? Just so everybody's aware, we do share information, and that's mainly how we arrested 2 summers ago. It's called the minivan crew. They were coming down from San Bernardino. So my guys, Carlsbad, FBI's, and the sheriffs, and Riverside sheriffs in LA County, we worked together, and we actually went up to Riverside to serve the warrants and to get those guys in custody, and then to extradite them down here. So as small as we are, we can't be successful without all of those folks' help. And so, yes, we are doing that, just to answer your question.
Yeah.
So has any of the personal property?
Can you use the mic?
Use the microphone, please.
Yeah, here you go. I'll just pass it. Pass it back.
So I'm just curious, has any of the personal property been recovered from any of these incidences over the last 5 years? What's the likelihood of that?
And just, I've only been there 3 months, but, you know, as far as I know, what I've been told is we have recovered some of the property from some of the burglaries. So, and likelihood, depending on, you know, like I said, when we arrest these suspects and those certain search warrants and stuff at their residence or wherever they're staying, we do recover property.
Okay, we were in La Jolla, and it was a hit and run on our car. There was cameras, 4 cameras picking it up, and the officer said, "There's nothing we can do." Why? What is that? Is there any repercussion for being caught?
Yes.
Or do they just get away?
Okay, so her question as far as traffic, and I did oversee traffic division for a while, so we do take hit and run seriously, and we do investigate them, and you know, I don't know that particular incident, but you know, if we have cameras or whatever to show that you know, this hit and run occurred, we do go after the suspect. So you know, I've been told and I've witnessed us arresting many hit and run suspects on different incidents. So it does get taken care of. I know sometimes, you know, you're told it's an insurance thing to, you know, exchange information and this, but we do go after the hit and run suspects.
But how is that different than someone hitting and running, stealing from my home?
Well, you're talking about the burglaries, right? So, you know, we definitely are gonna be working, like I said, we got a detail that we're putting together to try to combat these burglaries. But yeah, no, we want to put these people in jail. So, you know, it's not okay for them to burglarize your home or anybody's home. So we're gonna work hard
And we got teams, you know, that we're gonna continuously work to put these people in jail, and that's that's our job, and that's what we feel that, you know, any crime is not right. One burglary is one too many, so we're always gonna work to try to combat that.
No. My wife is very passionate about this because we've been burglarized for 20 years now. They came in and ransacked the house, and nothing was done. We had prints, we had so that's it. But to today's point, yesterday, or just past week, I ran into the gentleman walking down the street. I'm retired, I'm almost here. And I could see that somebody's unusual there. He's walking down the street with a box. He's not an Amazon driver, there's no truck or anything. He's walking, he's in my entryway of the house. I challenged him. I said, what are you doing here? Oh, I couldn't get through the plain air gate, so I looking for this house. We see the box. The box was not even anywhere near my address. I suggest you go over there. And I called the North Gate. And I think that's one response that I think is appropriate. I said, got a guy that's he's heading back to the plain air gate. Would you please take a look at that? And I directed him, if you are a driver, go through the North Gate. What are you doing walking around this neighborhood with a box?
Yeah, no, and I think I spoke on that earlier. Like, if you see something that's out of place, you see something that's suspicious, you should call. You know, you just never know. You know, and especially, I know you can get a hold of Joe or Javier or whatever, don't get a hold of us. We'll investigate it, but definitely if you see something that's out of place or whatever, please call us.
We called the North Gate the other night. We were told that we are not trained for such things. We're told not to come up, not to interfere. We're not trained. Our guys here are not trained. Our guys here, mind you, they don't even look like security people. It's pretty easy to give them a uniform that looks like a security person. Have them put their shirts in, have them look professional, have them carry a gun, if you ask me, which opens up a whole can of worms. But if you're talking about these guys talk, and they go, okay, well, Santa Luz, those dudes carry guns. We're not going there. We'll get shot. We carry guns, we'll pay for it. We need insurance, we'll buy more insurance. We have money. We just don't want people, I don't want my wife, every time she walks in the house, to be afraid. I don't want to have to shoot somebody.
No, definitely understand. Like I said, that's a question for Joe, but as far as the police, you know, we're here for you. You know, if you call the North Gate and Joe and them, you know, they'll call us and we'll get officers or units over here. So, you know, that's my commitment as the new captain here. Like, I'm here for all of you. You know, if there's something going on, you know, that you let us know, we're going to be here to help you out. So,
you guys have plans for the future. We've got 20 million more people in this country that we don't know who they are. I know Venezuela, I've been told, I don't know if it's true or not, in the press, that they emptied out their jails. Well, these guys are bad guys. And they're here in our country. And if you guys aren't keeping up with a lot more activity, we're going to be the ones you're in trouble.
yeah, so, you know, we're definitely, like I said, we're here for you. Like, if you see anything, you know, or anything, we're here. We'll be here. Like I said, we're not a big division, but we work together citywide, so if you need officers from other divisions, that's just a phone call to bring them in. So,
Yeah, so. And yeah, just, we have other.
yes. Yeah, it's a, go ahead, really quick.
Question.
Yeah.
From the burglaries that happened last year, what changes did y'all make here since then?
We can't hear.
Use this mic.
Since the last burglary was last year, what have we done?
We're gonna use the mic.
Yes.
We're gonna go to that.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I wanted to understand, when we had this happen a year ago, what changes did we make here at Sanders?
We're gonna go. Look up.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I think they're sticking around if you guys would like to ask any more questions or if you have any questions I can answer. Next is Javier. I think everyone knows Javier, our security director. He's going to touch on a few items.
Yes, I am. First, I'm going to take a 5-minute recess. I'm going to go get my suit of armor and then I'll come back out. I'm ready. You guys fire away your questions. I'm ready for you. But first, I have to get through these little bullet points that are up here. So, a lot of questions that we get as well, what do we do? And Mr. Friesman, please let me know what it was that you called the gate that we weren't able to respond to. Let me know what that was on me at the end of this. So vacation checks, 1,200 in 1 year. You guys go on vacations, we'll come out, we'll check your homes for 30 days. A lot of you take advantage of that, some of you don't. There's also a service that's available through Premier Home Services, that if you're gonna be gone for more than 30 days, they can come, they'll check your houses, they'll check for water leaks, they'll take care of your home while you're gone. So just be aware of those services. The San Diego Police Department also does vacation checks. So just be aware of the resources that are available to you, but that's us right here, Santa Luz. Safety Department, 1,200 vacation checks last year alone. 36 alarm responses. A lot of times it's like, well, what we do is intangible, it's not observable by you. You can't measure it, you can't see it, but we don't know how much we've deterred. We know that there was a burglary this year, but we don't know how many burglaries we may have deterred based on our patrolling or some of our actions. We have 36 alarm responses. That's residents calling the gate saying my alarm's going off or something's not right at my house. When we show up, we do a perimeter check and we make sure that it's secure. We make sure that if something's forced entry or anything like that, we let you know, we let your alarm companies know. So 36 alarm responses last year. 269 reports of suspicious activities. Some of it leads to some lead, like a car, a license plate. When we do arrive on scene and we do find anything suspicious, we take down make, model, color, license plate. We run those license plates in our system. We try and figure out, we try and kind of by process of elimination, is it a resident? We do get residents or teenagers that park in certain areas of the community and they look suspicious and we run the plates and it ends up being some of these teenagers parked. Up to you to figure out what they were doing. But that does happen. If it doesn't come up, if we have no discernible way to eliminate that, hey, you know, this is benign, then we forward that information and we forward the license plates. I send license plates to Officer Briggs all the time, and he runs it for me and he says, hey, good to go, nothing suspicious here. Or sometimes there is, hey, this is suspicious because it's been reported somewhere else. So you are not aware of this. This is the stuff that happens on a daily basis, you know, where we do respond, we do get information, we do share it with the police. Assistance rendered, that could be anything, it could be anything. But 38 times residents have called us and said, hey, I need assistance with something, and we've responded. General response reports, again, that could be anything, but 991 times. So we are active. We are doing things. You may not always see them. They may not always result in tangible metrics. I can't tell you, well, we deterred 10 burglaries last year because we don't know that because they didn't happen. That's just the nature of law enforcement or the security business. 1 million plus vehicles entered the gates last year. We're on track for the same thing. That's basically year after year, we get more than 1 million vehicles that come in and out. With that, 76,000 vendors, all right? And if you ask me, we can really use your help in trying to get a little more information in terms of not just the company, not just the first name, but give us who's this person, right? Because anybody shows up and says, I'm with Sunrun, and you give us Sunrun, we're gonna let them in because you called in Sunrun, but we have no way of knowing exactly who that is. Another thing that we do is if you got ordered DoorDash, you ordered Uber Eats, it's a plumber or it's somebody who's just coming one time, we don't issue them a pass. If they don't really have a legitimate reason to come back, we log their entry, we log their license plates, so we have it in the system. We send them on their way and they leave. We don't give them a pass because we don't want them to have that. Here's a pass, they can leave, they can come back, show a pass, we scan it, and we let them through. So we don't give them a pass. Next slide. One of the questions was, what have we done at Santa Luz since the last burglaries? And real quick, let me give a quick rundown. There's been 5 burglaries. 4 of them have entered through, 2 have entered through the Black Mountain open space behind Entrada de Luz East. That's 2. 2 that occur on the same day, back to back. So that's 2 burglaries. I really consider them 1. Why? Because they came in through the golf course over there by, everybody know where the vehicle, golf maintenance is at? So they came in through there. They went to one of the houses on the pods, hit that house. That was a resident that also had gone out to dinner. They watched them, they left, they went to that house. And then they looked up, and right up the fairway there was another house that was completely dark. The residents have a second home in Florida. There was nobody home. It was dark. There was no alarm set. They had an alarm. The alarm wasn't set. It was dark. So guess what? As an opportunity, they came, they burglarized one home, then they went and got another one. That's 2, but you really asked me, that's 1. That's one other instance of a burglary because they did one that did the second one. So that's 3, and then Mr. Friesman's is 4. Do we want these things to happen? No, we don't want these things to happen. I don't want them to happen. We are active out there. The changes that have been made from 2023 to today, we weren't patrolling that area back there, which is still gives us only 1 road. Everybody know where that gate is at on Entrada de Luz East when you make that left? So that's not our property back there. That's City of San Diego. And whoever said that there's vehicles back there that not always marked as county or water department,
right?
Be aware that they do contract vehicles out that aren't marked because we see them come through all the time. They have badges, but the vehicles may not be marked. Because other than that, county vehicles, you should not see any vehicles out there. You should see hikers, you should see people riding bikes, and that's it. But, so I already had a burglary deterrence tour that runs all the way around Santa Cruz. The point of the burglary deterrence tour is to increase our visibility on the perimeter. So if somebody's looking, somebody's trying, somebody's planning on burglarizing a home in Santa Cruz, they see our patrol and they say, you know what? Security's a little active here, let's go somewhere else. Obviously, Joe, what's the dimensions all the way around? We have 1 patrol that patrols the perimeter.
Set it up, get more.
When you go when we're at Black Mountain Park, because we do go there, Black Mountain Park, and they see us there, and we turn around and we leave, they know we're not coming back to that because we got to traverse the rest of the perimeter.
Put a camera in.
Put a camera, get more.
So we'll get to the cameras as well. We'll get to the cameras. But there is a burglary deterrence tour that takes us all the way around the perimeter. We have 2 patrols. We have 1 on the perimeter. We have 1 on the interior. Is it enough? Obviously not enough. But is 2 enough? Is 3 enough?
Can I help?
So that's a discussion that could be had later, but we have what we have and we do what we can with what we have so far.
So it's funny. It's funny.
It's not a question for me, but we are staffed. And Mr. Cooper, you asked me about staffing. I do have staffing numbers on 2 other communities. One of which has been burglarized a few times this year as well. Down the street, you guys are familiar with Crosby. Let me get through these and then we'll keep going. So the flock license plate camera readers at the gates. This is something that's been instrumental in helping us, helping SDPD. If you guys weren't aware, somebody was impersonating a FedEx delivery driver. They came to a resident's house and they stole like a delivery of 30 cell phones. They knew the cell phones were going to be delivered there. That person had a Ring camera. That Ring camera captured these individuals wearing FedEx garb, come to their door, take the boxes, and leave. They came in, they went straight to her house, and they left 10 minutes later. So it was targeted. It wasn't just by chance. They knew where they were going. She had the Ring cameras. She provided the footage to me. Was able to see white Toyota Prius. Couldn't make out a license plate. Went to my cameras. I searched for white Toyota Priuses. Sure enough, I saw the 2 FedEx guys come through. I got the license plate. I gave it to the detectives. Those guys are likely going to get caught. I don't know what happened. I don't know who was working on that case. But we provided the license plate and they got caught. Again, because of the cameras. Guys gotta help us, help you. Help me, help you. 1 second, we'll get there. Gate access scanners just to facilitate getting people through the gate when they have passes. There's a feature on Dwelling Live where you can email or text your passes to your guests. We don't see a lot of them being used, but that saves time. When people get, the gate officers get backed up because sometimes, let's face it, you guys forget to call in your guests and we got to call you, and if you don't answer, it takes some time. All that stuff kind of has secondary and tertiary effects on security because they're scrambling trying to do this, but the more you help us, the more we can facilitate keeping everything secure by making sure you call your people in, making sure you either email them or text them your passes, making sure that your vendor list is up to date, taking anybody that doesn't belong, off of there, et cetera, et cetera. There's a vulnerable area at the back of Garden Trail, that trail that leads out to where the horse stables are at. We put a remote camera there. It's remotely monitored by Securitas. So if anybody comes through there, granted we get calls all the time. Hey, somebody's been noted and it's a resident walking with their dog, so fine, we'll go check it out, but it's there in case anybody comes in, and then we can determine whether or not they're authorized. Recently set up a group sharing between other communities in the area. So far, Fairbanks, Crosby, another Rancho Santa Fe. So now what we're doing is sometimes these communities are hesitant to report, hey, we got burglarized, or I'll hear about it later. So now what we're doing is sharing information almost real time. As soon as we know we got a burglary, we share it amongst each other. That way if they get burglarized, they send the information, it goes out in this group email, and we can share the information, and we can be on the lookout. We can let you guys know, hey, a neighboring community has been burglarized. Please be on the lookout. Please be on alert. If there's a suspicious vehicle that was noted with it, we can get that information out to you guys sooner rather than later. Yeah, and we continue to try and do everything we can to better cover the community, be more proactive on our patrolling. So we did set up I have checkpoints at these burglary deterrence tours around, so my guys have to go and physically scan those, and I know that they're going around, and they're set up 2 during the noon shift, 2 to 10, and then 2 during the night shift. For Mr. Cooper, so Fairbanks has about 23 officers. They run about 1 more officer than we do per shift. And they're not immune to it. They've also been burglarized. I don't know if they've been burglarized over the last 6 months. And just so you know, we say 15, but just west of us is not SDPD, it's Sheriff's Department area. So I don't know if you have that info, but that's a whole nother set that these people are right next door, and that's not included in these 15 that we're talking about now. So Fairbanks has 1 more person than we do on per shift. And the Crosby, they don't have a night shift patrol, and during the weekends they don't have a day shift patrol. They only have 1 during the afternoon shift, so they're not very well manned. So just in comparison to those 2 communities, we're right where we need to be in terms of staffing in comparison to other communities. Increasing the staffing, that's a conversation for another time, maybe a board meeting or something like that. We did say that footage from one of the burglaries led to an arrest. Again, that alarm was set. They did cut the wires to that, but the cameras captured these individuals. We were able to get the make model off their cameras. I in turn ran those and searched our cameras, found them, found their license plates, gave that information to the police, and eventually they were caught. So we talked about camera. Somebody brought up the camera out there. We looked into that. The cost is exorbitant. Not that, the cost is exorbitant in terms of, but then because of the terrain and the contours of the property line, if we put one in a certain place, we cover probably 5 homes. And the rest of the homes on this side would be uncovered, just because, especially where you live, sir, right? That terrain behind your house, and then the curvature and the terrain just doesn't allow for a camera to properly oversee all that.
Yeah, my only suggestion was on the water access roads. okay, which seems to be the issue for 4 of the burglaries.
That whole Black Mountain Park, where that park is at, where you guys can see that park back there, that's an issue.
A camera there someplace hidden.
I wouldn't hide it.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, you'd want it visible. You'd want it to be have some type of deterrence effect. But we can relook into that. When we looked into it, it just didn't cover enough in the hospital.
Okay,
So,
all right.
What about tilt cameras? Seen it?
can't tilt, but also you need somebody to actually sit there and monitor that and move it around and look for those things. The whole thing is, I can put a camera on one section there, or each of you could put cameras in your backyards and have more coverage and have more effect than a camera of mine sitting out there. So I know there's only a fraction of the entire community here, right? And a question I get all the time is, well, why don't you guys let anybody know about X, Y, and Z? Well, we do, and either you haven't opted in. Do you have to opt into the emails?
Yeah.
Either you haven't opted into the community emails, or they're going into your spam, or you're just deleting them. I delete all my HOA stuff. I'm not interested in reading, but you know. So, but people call and tell me all the time, you guys didn't let us know. Yes, we did. You know, sir, your burglary was on Saturday. By Monday, the information had gone out, but you know, only a fraction of the people actually saw it. So, yep, we get more coverage, and so the point being there is that we've brought it up. We've sent out information. We've sent out emails. Do this. If you live in these vulnerable areas, your area is vulnerable. Everybody that lives there should know that that area is vulnerable. You should incorporate an alarm system, a camera system. Whoever brought up that some companies are monitoring those for you, great. Use those features. I like my Ring camera. He likes his Nest cameras. I get to see what's going on in my house all the time. They're always on. If there's somebody home, I don't pay attention to it. If nobody's home, I'm constantly looking. Who's that? What's moving around? I see my Amazon deliveries. I see my kids coming and going. I know if they're late to school. I know if they're not home yet from school. So I look. Drones. Okay, so outside of the cost of drones and the privacy issue, we looked into drones. We wanted to incorporate drones. On top of that, we would not qualify for a hobbyist flying a drone. We would be a commercial application for a drone. We apply those drones in a commercial capacity. We need insurance. We need pilot licensing. We need all kinds of stuff that is, you know, these guys aren't going to get covered to get their pilot's license, and the insurance is another cost, you know, per month to insure, because if we crash that drone or we hit something or somebody with it, then we're liable. So we've looked into that option as well. Again, well, you guys can hear me, right? Again, nothing is more cost effective or more effective in helping secure that everybody doing their part for their properties, along with what we do. We can kind of layer the defense, right? We got the perimeter, we got the interior. You guys cover your properties. Call us if you see anything. Call us if there's anything suspicious, and we can be a little more effective and not have. Can't say that we're not going to have burglaries, but I think, you know, one this year, one is too many. Wish you didn't have it, but we're relatively speaking, it's not an issue isolated to San Luis, you know. So barns.
It seems like you got the perimeter. So you got the perimeter. It doesn't seem like you do.
What?
Well, we got the perimeter, but you got one patrol to cover 4,000 acres. We got miles of perimeter. So you should be seeing, and from your house you can't see it, but my guys are driving up and down that service road that heads down to the park.
Twice a day, right?
4 times.
4 times.
4 times a day.
They know when you go down there, bad guys know they're not going to be back in a couple hours.
Correct. Not only that, these bad guys aren't out there wearing ski masks and dressed in all black looking through binoculars, right? They see us. They're blending in with the hikers. They're blending in with everybody who is out there. So my guys are like, hey, you know, we're seeing hikers. We're seeing people with bikes. I was like, I know. Your main purpose is to deter anybody who, some would-be burglar is to deter them. And if for some reason they're exhibiting any kind of suspicious behavior, then report it. Then we call them. Another thing I want to cover real quick is what we can and cannot do. Please tell me what you called the Northgate for that we said we can't do that or we're not trained for it.
We told them if you can burglarize, and they said we are told not to go if we're not trained.
Peace officer.
So basically, the main thing is we wait for SDPD, especially since it may have been active. I don't know what was communicated exactly. If it was completely over and it was communicated like, hey, there's nobody here, we can go, we can discuss with you, we can get some information, but our main priority is to make sure that they get to your property as soon as possible. If they can't make it right away, then we're waiting for them. You don't want any of my guys coming into your house and traipsing over an active crime scene. Because, yeah, I don't want them in your house. It's a crime scene. So, yes, our direction, my direction to them is you wait for them to occur because it's a crime scene. And that's all I have. Yes.
Question. You wait for them, so they're so busy, they're not going to get to us. I love everything the police do. I'm a total supporter. But beyond that, the South Gate is not manned from 10 p.m. on.
Okay. So,
I mean, anybody can come in.
That's perfect. But in terms of burglaries, nobody's coming to the South Gate. So we shut the South Gate down for a reason.
You have to make this place secure. You have to know that it's secure.
So
just because nobody's come in through the South Gate doesn't mean nobody's ever going to come in through the South.
We took that money from the South Gate attendant that worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Took the money from that South Gate attendant who was processing maybe 2 vehicles, sometimes 0 per night, and we put it into a patrol from 10 to 6 Sunday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It's addresses the issue more than having that gate officer there twiddling his thumbs, in all honesty. Yes, sir.
So Javier, my wife and I have lived there for 22 years. When we moved into this community, we had roving patrol all the time.
I agree.
We had
21.
fully staffed North and South Gate, 24 hours a day. That's the security that we bought into. And it's all about creating the right impression, which we've already heard tonight, where people don't want to come in and invade this community. And I feel bad for Stacy and Tom and anybody that's been robbed here. One of our clients was the house on between Christmas and New Year's where the owners lived in Florida.
Yeah.
That was robbed, right? There was nothing the Northgate could do when we found out it had been robbed.
They came in through the
It was
golf
two,
course
it was
there.
2.5 hours before the police could come because it's not an active crime scene at that point, right? So the point being that I don't want any of my neighbors robbed. My wife and I don't want to be robbed. But nobody reached out to us and said, would you pay an extra $15 a month, which is probably what it would have cost, to keep, for all the homeowners, to keep the South Gate occupied 24/7. I live by the North Gate. I would have been happy to do that, to have security at the South Gate. And I appreciate what all the volunteer board members do. That's no easy job in any community. But I don't think in 22 years, anybody's ever reached out to us in a survey and said, what would you like to see happen with security? What would you like to see happen with maintenance? And unless, you can go to a board meeting and get on the calendar to speak about it, but it's a community issue. And I think we need to ask the community what the community wants to do to help you and what we want our Santa Luz staff do to help us.
Definitely beyond my pay grade.
A couple of things that Javier has alluded to. The extra, the allocation of resources is a board decision. And one of the decisions we made post the robberies last year was, when we looked at the utilization of the South Gate, was to reallocate those to an active patrol for those evenings. Now, I think it's an excellent suggestion to survey the community. I think that's a really excellent suggestion to survey the community and ask some questions. We need to think about the questions. If you all have some, send it into the SMA and try and parse them out. But I really like that suggestion. The other one is, something to point out is, other than these dudes that happen to know that 30 cell phones came to someone's door, none of those burglaries came through a gate. None of them.
Right.
Now, if it's worth the impression that someone is there, if it adds to the impression of some security, and we're willing to pay for it, well, that's a resource decision, and we can obviously take that and make that. So, good points, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background there. And Javier does what Javier does, but he does not make decisions of how much we're gonna pay, essentially. That's board taking a look at our resources and things like that. Last thing I'll mention very quickly about that is that I asked Javier to take a look at local communities, because I was concerned, are we understaffed? Are we overstaffed? How do we look? How do our people look compared to theirs? And it is a bit of a work in process. Kind of blows my mind. I'd like to know how many burglaries that Crosby has had, for instance. But it kind of blows my mind that they've got 1 or 2 people. I don't know how many times they've been hit. I'd like to drill down further into that situation. But 2 data points doesn't give us a whole lot of statistics to work with. But those 2 data points say we're not terribly understaffed as other people are doing.
I'm curious, back to the Southgate, is when did the Southgate close, that security person, and how many burglaries were there, even though they didn't come to the gate, how many burglaries came onto the property since that Southgate was closed?
Not entirely sure of the timing. 2
prior, 2 after.
But you allocated the person from the Southgate.
Allocated those monies to other patrol.
It's that it's the all-night patrol, the all-night person.
Yes.
Where you see no activity to somebody during the day, would be demonstrative, and the other.
So
people
those
see them.
decisions are all, that's why we're here, that's why we're talking, those decisions are all open to discussion, and it is, if the community says, hey, we want to look like we've got active people there, or we want to look more active like that, decisions that we can take a look at. Would it help? Would it have stopped that robbery? Couldn't say.
What about the issue of armed patrol? You said you'd talk about it later. Is it later now?
Yes. So armed patrols. Fairbanks has armed patrols. You realize that a weapon on a security officer is really not that much of a deterrent, because it is literally life or death. To protect my life, to protect your life, and that is it. It's Fairbanks has had their fair share of burglaries. Their guys are armed. In my opinion, in terms of what security can do, it doesn't add more bang for your buck.
But what if a burglar hits one of these houses and the wife is there, and the daughter's there sleeping?
So that's great. I just want to avoid the what ifs, because everything we know and all the information that we have now is that they are going into empty houses. And if they suspect that you're there, or if you come, they are out. They don't want to interact. They don't want to be caught. They don't want to see you. They don't want you to see them. Real quick, yes, sir.
Is there a pattern in terms of timing? Because I know
Yes.
on our street, it was 6 o'clock. They went out. They were out for a couple hours. They get in. The more recent burglary.
So you guys can help me out here, but Friday and Saturday seems to be 2 of the bigger days, and usually between 6 and 8, 9-ish.
Yeah,
Like you guys going out to dinner and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's really from about 2 to 9 is the hours that we're looking at. The weekends have been more typical recently, but that's not ruling out the weekends. And just to step back one, there's only been 2 instances where someone has been home when a burglary was attempted. One of the incidents, the 16-year-old son, I believe, was home. As soon as they realized he was there, they immediately left. The other one, the homeowners were upstairs in a bedroom with one dim light on. It looked like there was no one home. They entered the residence.
Once they realized someone was home, they went to leave. There was an altercation because the homeowner went after the burglars. But other than that, there's been zero confrontation. And when you're robbing an empty home, when you're robbing a home with people in it, it changes the level of crime that you're committing. So you're going from just a home burglary to a home invasion. And they know that, and they don't want to have to deal with that. So that's why they are unarmed. They don't want to see any people. If they see people, they're going to leave. So we haven't had the issues of violence with any of these crimes.
Well, homeowner chases somebody outside the property. No. Are they going to be in trouble?
I can't speak to the law, really.
It depends on what they do. Yes. Yeah. When if they chase somebody, just to, get characteristics and stuff.
They whack them over the head and knock them off.
Yeah. So what? I mean, you can only use force to protect yourself, right? If you're chasing and they're fleeing, you're not
You can't protect your property.
Well, if they're running away, they're fleeing.
It's not your property.
That's just property. That's the way the law says. It's just property. They're, we get involved, we'll investigate and put it up, but to hit somebody or to use force when somebody's fleeing, yeah. Unless you're protecting your own.
Just a quick follow-up. So you mentioned 9 mile perimeter. That's a lot of mileage. 3,000 acres. But there's only one Black Mountain Park. There's only one golf course access where the maintenance vehicles are stored. Would it be effective to direct resources, not riding around, but park a guy in Black Mountain Park from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.? Park somebody over by the maintenance.
Cameras by the maintenance yard. That'd be.
It's allocation of resources, but having a presence there, certainly going this time of night, leaving the park and walking towards our neighborhood would be very unusual. And they got their backpack loaded down with their equipment.
Yeah, and what we're doing to combat that is that presence patrol going down that service road all the way down to the park.
I live on that street, and I think that's great. The problem is you have a very limited vantage point from there. So you're looking, and somebody goes the other direction through the trail system. If you're over in the park and somebody drives into and parks in that park, people are leaving there and leaving, and there's somebody there at 7 o'clock at night, and there's nobody else there, and they're actually to the vehicle.
So from after getting this, I'm going to have that rover patrol that we have hit Fridays and Saturdays, go out to that Black Mountain Park, stay there a little longer. We just ordered a nice set of high-powered binoculars so that you can sit at the park and you can oversee more of that area. Granted, naked eye, it's kind of hard, but with those binoculars, we'll be able to cover that terrain a little bit better. So I'll be having them go out there, stay there, rather than just hit that checkpoint and drive around, stay there and maintain a presence for 30, 40 minutes. So I'll have them do that as well. And just one last thing before I go, I wanted to caution, yes, more patrols, more patrols. I'm never going to say, oh yeah, I don't need more people. Give me more people, I can use them. Absolutely, 100%. But if we have 2, 3 patrols rolling around and somebody gets burglarized, immediately you're going to be like, well, WTF, right? And we're going to be like, well, we can do that. And certainly it will help us be less vulnerable. But again, please, this is our 4th year into this, right? Our first one was 2020. We still have homes that abut those, vulnerable areas that are still not properly protected. So let's do it together.
Yeah, just remember there's two ways of getting in with the water road. You got the western side from Camino del Sur and the other side. So think about both of those.
And San Diego Road. Pardon? And San Diego Road.
One more thing with regards to guns, because I have had many discussions with the GM, paramedics, and security. They don't really think that they do much in the way of preventing anything. They do make some homeowners feel safer. I asked, if you had to do it over again, would you do use guns? And they said, well, we checked with our insurance company. The problem is they're grandfathering us in for guns, but it's a liability issue. A lot of insurance companies are not providing that. That's very generous. Just so you know. So, we're gonna go ahead, we wanna do the Adopt-A-STAR. We're gonna skip some of the other programs, you'll be able to see them on the PowerPoint. We'll be sending that out to everybody, additional information. What I'd like to have Ann here. Ann is the president of the SCC, and she's got a great program.
Our committee has a great program. Well, I'll wait for a second while people are leaving. So tonight, our kickoff for Adopt-A-STAR, this is the 8th year that we've had Adopt-A-STAR. This is just such a wonderful opportunity that we can share with those that need assistance. Your community council researches every year who we might use for the Adopt-A-STAR program. And this year we are using Hidden Valley House. And they provide temporary emergency shelter to survivors of intimate partner violence and also their children. Tonight we have Sylvia McGrade, the auxiliary facilitator, and her team. And she will talk to you in just a little bit regarding more about Hidden Valley House. Adopt-A-STAR this year is sponsored by Eileen Anderson from Anderson Estates. And we have Stacia and Bernadette back there by the Adopt-A-STAR table. And so we hope tonight you'll take a look. I know some of you have already have. And what you do is find a star or stars that you would like to adopt. You sign up for that family or that individual. You purchase the gift, and then you take that star to the gift, and then you deliver that gift to the Hacienda office. There's also an opportunity to use a QR code. And if you are like myself, I don't do a lot of shopping, I use a lot of Amazon. So you can use that QR code, and that goes directly to Hidden Valley House. The deadline for all of this is December 16th. And in addition tonight, in sponsorships, we've got 2 baskets that are up for raffle. So you choose a star, you can sign we have an opportunity to sign the drawing ticket, and you will, whoever wins we will let you know. It's between 7:30 and 7:45 tonight. So I would like to introduce Sylvia from Hidden Valley, and she'll tell you a little bit more about their organization.
Thank you, everyone. I know it's getting late, so we're going to be brief. If my team could come on over. Hidden Valley House, we are the Hidden Valley House Auxiliary. We are the behind the scenes group that helps to provide support to the Hidden Valley House Emergency Shelter. So when a person has had some kind of relationship or domestic violence, they can call a hotline and get some support. Our motto is we help so survivors can heal. We want to take away, they've already got a lot on their mind, right? They've got kids possibly, and they are on their way to healing, getting their lives back together. We provide groceries, we provide welcome bags. We have examples back here so that when the person arrives at Hidden Valley House, on their bed is a welcome bag for each adult, for each child, and even we started making them for the babies as well. There is a quilt there that the Scripps Ranch Quilting Guild provide for each person who is there. We provide a community kitchen stocked with fresh fruits and veggies and proteins and breakfast foods so that the residents can cook for their families and get whatever food they want.
I'm gonna have our team introduce themselves and say how long they've actually been working with this organization, Hidden Valley House Auxiliary. So you wanna start?
My name is Sue Carter.
Yeah. My name is Sue Carter. In the auxiliary for 20 years. And we love making things that make it a little more comfortable once the clients arrive. We also provide a clothes closet on the property where there's clothes for adults, men, women, children, so that if they arrive with nothing, if they had to get out in the middle of the night, then there's a place they can go and get clothes and just the school supplies or whatever else is they need.
You've been with the learning, did you say how long you've been with?
Great. We also have some quotes, and I'll just share them on the page. That are not quotes, but statistics. More than 30% of Californians experience physical violence, sexual violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime.
Good evening. My name is Carol Pike, resident of Scrooge Ranch. And I've been with the organization, the auxiliary, for only 2 years, and find it very worthwhile and wonderful. And my statistic for you tonight is 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence every year. And 90% of these children are eyewitnesses to the violence.
Hello. My name is Carol Budley, and I've also been with the auxiliary for 20 years. And it's been a great experience. We provided a lot of fulfilled a lot of needs for some women and some men who came here for your support. And my data point was 77% of stalking occurs from a prior relationship.
My data point is that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men in the United States has been raped in their lifetime. So you can understand the why of why this is an important organization, and now you know a little bit about the who. And so what we can all do is, I really appreciate that the Adopt-A-STAR program has selected our auxiliary for this support. And there's a couple of ways you can do it, as was previously mentioned. You can adopt a star, and these items will go directly to one of the survivors at the shelter. You can also click on the QR code. It'll take you to an Amazon wish list that is specifically for this Santa Luz community. There's also a way to, on the QR code as well, to go directly to a donation site, so that you can purchase, like these welcome bags are some of the things that you can help us with. So you'll see several different items that you can select and make your donation that will go to welcome bags, or transportation for a medical appointment, or diapers for babies, or special formula for babies, and a number of other things that we've listed there for you. So lots of ways that you can help. We appreciate you letting us have this time to share this important cause with you. And we'll be around if you have any other questions or anything else you'd like to share. So thank you so much.
Bear with us for one more second. Ken, would you like to talk about the position at EQ? Santa Luz is, according to the city, part of Black Mountain Ranch. And the development that gets done in this area is reviewed by the Rancho Penasquitos Planning Board. I know there has been a fair amount of talk over the last few years about Costco down by the corner of Carmel Valley Road and Camino del Sur. If anything happens with that, we will be involved with it. Right now, there are 2 representative spots
for Black Mountain Ranch for the planning board. I'm in one of them. The second is vacant and has been vacant for about 2 years now. Now, if you're interested just because of Costco, don't apply. Because there's a lot of other stuff going on, and single focus people don't tend to stay with the board, and it's not really fair to them. But to give you an idea of one or two other things that we're doing, the SMA board has written a letter in support. The Carmel Valley Road just west, going eastbound, and just west of Camino del Sur, as you know, is kind of a rough area to try to navigate through. There was a commitment by D.R. Horton a number of years ago as a condition of some of their development to widen that. They are now trying to get out of that. The planning board is fighting for them to honor their commitment. They're the last area to be developed down by Route 56. There's a project that's been labeled as Roads Crossing. That will come up for a thorough review within the next 6 months. You don't have to be a planning person. You don't have to be an architect. I'm just a community member who asks dumb questions to try to bring out what's going on and make people think and make common sense decisions for people. So if you're interested, I'm going to give you an unforgettable phone number, which is my cell phone. I'll be happy to give you more information. You won't forget this. It'll be in your nightmares tonight. 858-444-7777. They took one look at me at Verizon when they first assigned the number and said, we got to give this guy the simplest one possible. So please consider it if you're looking for, and it's not a tremendous time suck, but it is interesting work, and you would be adding one more representative for our community.
Yeah. Quick question, what is the time commitment process?
We meet as a minimum, we meet on the first Wednesday of each month. We do have subcommittees that are working and doing other things. For example, the medians, you may have seen the median along Carmel Valley Road that we're trying to get some renovation done, lantana, things like that in there. So bottom line is, my average commitment is a 3-hour, basically a 3-hour meeting once a month, and probably a couple of hours doing other things because I'm assigned to a couple of subcommittees.
Is it evening, Wednesday evening?
It's a Wednesday evening. It's at the Rancho Family YMCA is where we meet right now. And you're more than welcome if you just want to come and check it out. Please do.
It's cool. Thank you. Any questions tonight? And with that, I think we're going to close it. Thank you. Enjoy some refreshments in the back.
Good job. See you Friday.